All right, Aaron, thank you. Let's check
Yep.
out creating some type and embedding it or placing it into an object in Blender.
All right, so you're gonna want to start obviously with your object. Here I just have a carabiner. This is gonna what the end product is going to inevitably look like. It's just gonna be your name or some other text embedded in your object or carabiner for this example. And for the text, what you're gonna want to first go off to is this little add icon. Go down to text, and once you have your text, you're gonna want to go to the little tab up here that says object mode and go down to edit mode. And you'll know you're in edit mode because it'll be this gray color with the cursor just like normal text. So for this, we'll just put Blender in it. And then after you get the words correct, you're going to want to go back to object mode, and under the little A icon in the corner, under geometry, and it might look like this when you first open it. So you're going to want to go under geometry and under extrude. If you want the text to go all the way through the carabiner, you can just take that extrude level and make it really high, or as where it goes through all the way through the carabiner. But for this example, I don't want it to go all the way through the carabiner, so we're just going to take it down to about that much. And then from here, before I do anything else, I'm going to move it into position to make sure it's the right words, the right length, everything correct before I make it an actual object. When moving your text around, try and use these little red, blue, and green grippies. If you grab it by anywhere else, it kind of moves it all over the place in 3D and it can get kind of annoying. So try and grip it by these grippies. It'll just lock you to the X, Y, and Z axis, and it just makes moving things into position a lot easier. So we're gonna do that, rotate it around a little bit. That looks good. Move it this way, move it up. And it looks like it's gonna be a little big, so we'll scale it down here in just a second. Up. That looks good. Little scale icon. When you're scaling it, if you want it all to scale uniformly, you're gonna wanna select this little middle circle, and that's not even the scale tool, this one is, and that'll scale it uniformly. If you grab it by any of the grippies on this one, it'll scale it along a certain axis, but since we just want it to keep looking like this, we'll grab it by the center here. That's not the center though. That is. And we'll scale it down to about right there. Move it back into position where we want it. It's peeking out a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and extrude it a little more, just so I know it's not gonna dig into or it's not gonna print over the object. All right, so from here, make sure that your words and everything are the way you want it and everything, because the next step, once we do this next step, you will not be able to go back and edit the words. You'll be able to go back and edit the size and the position. However, once we turn this into an editable mesh, you won't be able to go back and do the words. So once again, if you want to change the words, you can go back into the edit mode, add in your text, it'll do the extrusion and everything for you, and good. So then for the next step, you're going to want to click on the words, make sure they're highlighted in this orange, right click, and convert to mesh. So once you're at this step, unless you Control Z back, you cannot edit the words whatsoever. When you go into the edit mode, it'll just come up as a bunch of faces. From here, you're going to want to go to your torus, or the object that you want to delete from. You're going to want to go to this gear icon, and under add modifier, you're going to want to do a Boolean. When it first starts, it's going to be on this intersect. You're going to want to go over to difference, and in the object, and over in the object, you're going to want to go down to the text, because that's the text that we just created. And then once you have all that, you're going to go to this little arrow, go down to apply, and click apply. And now It's been embedded in your object. And from here, unless you want to keep this for anything, you can go ahead and just delete it.
Can you continue on through this save mode as to like how you would send the file to the 3D printer, and not specifically your 3D printer, but just a generic 3D printer, like we're printing it at a 3D printing service?
Yeah, absolutely. So once you have your object done that you're ready to send to a 3D printing service or something, you're going to want to send the company a STL or an OBJ file. And that is actually very easy. You simply go under File, Export, STL. And from here, you just name it whatever, export to STL. And it should be exported as an STL. Yep, right here.
About how big are these files?
The STLs are not too large. I can probably check the properties of this.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, so yeah, this is only like,
Oh, it's teeny tiny.
yeah, STLs are usually pretty small. They're not usually super huge unless they have the G code data in it. Once it gets the G code data, then it becomes pretty big. But while it's just this STL, it's pretty small. And all I'm doing now is just opening it up on just to make sure my STL works. Whoever watches this probably won't have to do this step. This is just something I personally do to make sure it comes in. So yeah, when I made this, I didn't exactly make it to scale. So when the STL comes in, it's just super tiny. Very easy fix though. Just go in here, scale it up.
Is that something that the designer would want to send as like printer notes, like end product to be 2.5 inches wide, or is there some way to embed that information in the file itself?
In the file, when I created this, I wasn't thinking about any dimensions or anything. When you go to create, say if I wanted to just create another, just like a box with something, I could just go to cube, and under these options, I believe you can actually set the size and everything to be what you want it to be.
Oh,
However, yeah, however, if you were not really kind of too concerned about that or anything, or you just want to create a part and then send it to them, yeah, you would have to attach an email saying part not to size. I would
scale
like
up
it.
to 2 inches
Yeah.
or
Yeah, scale up to be